What's up, guys? It's Cole here, and today I'm going to talk about car transmissions. So, what do? Their main job is to send power, or translate power, or transmit power from the engine to the wheels. Transmission. They change the engine speed using gearing to get the perfect wheel speed at a given car speed. So, yeah. So, for example, imagine you turn your car on and you put in drive, and you're moving very slowly. Your wheels aren't turning that fast. However, your car's engine is turning at like 1,000 revolutions per minute. That's all transmission. So the three main components of a transmission are the gearbox, the clutch, and the differential. So that's how I broke it up in this video. Let's get into the gearbox. Alright, so the gearbox, as I said, it converts engine speed to wheel speed, and the main components are the clutch, the lay shaft, the output shaft, the helical gears, which are like first gear, second gear, whatever, the selector fork, dog gear, and the dog gears. Modern day transmissions are called like synchronized transmissions or constant contact transmissions, because each gear on each shaft is paired up with each gear on each shaft is paired up with a gear on the other shaft, and they never change. You just select the gears by moving teeth, as I'll explain later. So this is how it works. So the lay shaft is directly driven by the engine, and the gears on the lay shaft are fixed. So they rotate and they turn their paired gear on the output shaft constantly. So how a gear is selected is a selector fork pushes a dog gear, which is an inward gear with teeth, onto the teeth on the outside of the helical gear, which connects the helical gear to the drive shaft. And here's a small animation for you guys to see how that works. So there you go. So moving on to the clutch. So the clutch, what it does is it controls whether the lay shaft is getting powered by the engine or just not getting powered at all. And yeah, and that's useful for when you're changing gears, so you have a clean shift and you don't like break the gears. Or if you're coming to a stop, you can disconnect the gearbox from the engine that's turning at 1,000 or however many RPM, and you can sit safely at a stop without worrying about anything. So the main components of a clutch are the flywheel, the clutch plate, pressure plate, also the diaphragm springs, which are right on the outside, and the the throwout bearing. So how does this work? So the flywheel is connected to the main shaft, which is coming straight from the engine, and that is constantly turning with the engine. On the inside, it has on its surface, it has a high friction material, which and so does the clutch plate. And the clutch plate is pressed against that the flywheel from the pressure plate. The pressure plate presses on the clutch plate, creating great friction in between the two because they have high friction materials. So yeah, the clutch and the pressure plate are on the lay shaft. So when the clutch is pressed up against the flywheel, the lay wheel turns with all those plates. So to disengage the clutch, there's a clever setup. So there's a diaphragm gear, which is this spread out gears diaphragm spring, which is this spread out spring that is kind kind of elevated in the center and pressed on the outsides. And when you press the clutch pedal, or when an automatic engine engages the throw-out bearing into the diaphragm spring, it pushes the center down, the ends come out, and relieves all the pressure on the clutch plate and the flywheels, so they are no longer connected. And that is how you disconnect the lay shaft from the main engine, or the only engine, really. Yeah. So the last part of a transmission is the differential. And the main purpose for the differential is to allow the wheels to spin at different speeds while turning, because obviously when a car turns, the outside wheel has a farther track and has to turn at a faster speed to keep up with the rest of the car. The differential also takes the power from the drive shaft and rotates it 90 degrees to give the wheels an axis on which they rotate. Yeah. So what are the main components of a differential, and how do they work? So you have one big outer ring gear, which is connected on one axle and which is driven by a pinion gear, which connects the drive shaft to the ring gear, spins the ring gear. On the inside of the ring gear, you have spider gears, which spin directly with the ring gear. So there are two parts of the spider gear that spin: the actual outside of it, which you'll see in this animation, and the individual gears. So and then from there, the spider gears are connected to what are they called? Bevel gears, which go out to the wheels and turn the wheels. So this animation will show you how it works. So the drive shaft turns the ring gear, which turns the spider gears. When turning, the outside wheel is turning faster, so the gears on the spider gear account for that and turn that wheel faster and the other wheel slower. So, or allows that to happen, which is great. Yeah, so here's some cool transmissions, or just two that I think that I liked looking up and researching. So the Koenigs Regera R, as the Swedish say, Regera. That supercar has a very unique gearbox. It has a single gear. It's also a hybrid, so its electric motor takes the car from 0 to 37 miles per hour, and then one gear takes over from 0 to 252 miles an hour, and that takes place in about 20 seconds. So crazy what can be done. Swedish engineering. Yeah, so massive amounts of horsepower and torque allowed to happen. It has around 1,500 horsepower and over 1,000 pound-feet of torque, which is insane. Also, Teslas, they use a single gear transmission, just kind of to convert the electric motor speed. I said electric engine on the PowerPoint, you know what I mean, electric motor. Yeah, to convert that, they use I think it's 9.47 to 1 gear ratio, just to gear down the speed. But that was one of Elon Musk's biggest stresses, was acquiring a working transmission for his original Tesla Roadster, which almost didn't make it out alive, but he did. And yeah, that's that. And my sources. Thank you.